Hello. All right. Mona. All right. So good that you're doing yoga offline. I'm glad you're here. And Cindy, yeah, it's great to have you back. It's been a while, right? Ooh, mid-December. So that's like 2 months. All right, Cindy. Well, hopefully today's not too crazy for you. Carol, good morning. Donna, hello. Sharon, hello. Carolyn, good morning. And then Pollyanna, do I know you? Have I ever met you before? And if not, hello, welcome. And let me know if there's anything that I need to know about you in particular. Good morning, Lynn. Um, yeah, that's okay, Cindy. The whole thing is we do what we can, and it's range of motion. So, what is your range of motion? And you have to find it. And we all have one. We all have a range of motion that we have. Sometimes, depending on what's going on in our lives, if we have issues or injuries, that affects it. So, knowing what your range of motion is, where you are in your body. And then I know for myself, when I take off time and I come back, it's like, oh my gosh, I feel so weak. So hopefully you'll be good with yourself and do what you should do. Okay, this is your first time. All right, Pollyanna. So basically, Pollyanna, you listen to the voice inside your body, and I will guide you. And I'm not going to lie, but today's practice that I've been thinking of for us definitely has some strength aspects to it, which they all do. But I'm going to do something today that I thought would be interesting. I've been very into teaching 3 in sections of 3, so that what my goal is osteoporosis is a lifestyle disease, and the way we manage it is with a bone healthy lifestyle. So during your day, finding postures to put into your body for 30-second increments can be really wonderful for maintaining strength and flexibility and range of motion, and for creating bone building stimulation. So I'm going to teach postures in sets of 3 today. And I thought for today, what I would do is I actually would add a little element. So I'll tell you about that when I go back there. But I just want to see something about Pollyanna. Oh, wow. Okay, that's great. Well, welcome. I'm a health coach also. I run functional labs and look for root causes of bone loss, and yoga therapist. So really teach the whole physical and mental, emotional aspects of bone density and of health and well-being. Okay, great. Well, welcome. And then if you want to connect later on and have a discussion, you and I, since we're both in the same space, that would be great as well. All right. So, okay, well, welcome. Let me go back to my post and explain what my thoughts were for today. All right. Okay. So for today, what I'd like to do is, staying with the 3 posture concept, I'd like to introduce something where I choose postures in sets of 3 there, that one of them focuses on flexibility, one focuses on strength, and one focuses on strength, flexibility, and balance. Balance, flexibility, and strength, okay? And so I do have a couple that I was thinking of doing with that intention. And I think that this could be really fun to actually get all of those areas, because with bone health issues, whether that's osteoporosis, osteopenia, or for healthy aging in general, we want to be strong. We need the strong muscles for the bones. We need the flexibility in our joints and in our connective tissue, so that if we do slip, trip, or fall, we have that dance in our body so that we don't pull on the bones and fracture them. And the last one, so there was strength, flexibility, and balance, right? And the balance is because we need balance. We need balance everywhere. We need balance in our biochemistry, our physiology, in our physical musculoskeletal system, and in our mind. So we need to have all of that for a healthy aging and for bone health. All right. So for today's practice, I have a lot of things here because I'm going to start with 2 blocks. I want to start with a really deep chest opener. And that is because the flexion position of the spine is the biggest no-no. It's what contributes to half of the fractures in the body. And then if you do fall and have a hip fracture, 50% of those ladies had a previous spinal fracture. So really understanding the aspect of spinal health and how important that is when it comes to bone health. So I am going to begin my practice today in a really big opener with 2 blocks. And not all of you have access to this, so I brought other things to show you that whatever goes here behind your heart, whatever manipulates the middle spine, the thoracic spine, the 12 vertebrae here, I'm going to choose to put a block behind my body. But for some of you, you may want to do either a pillow or a bolster behind your heart. So that might be something you have access to or you want to do. Or you could take a blanket, have 2 blankets and have one of them where you fold this blanket up, and that becomes what you put behind your heart, and then supporting your head with whatever you need. Okay, so go ahead, and if you have 2 blocks, I wanted to also say that the blocks come in 4 and 3 inches. And I find that a lot of people come in with a 3-inch block. I don't use a 3-inch block very often. However, I would say in this case, when you're going to be doing chest and really manipulating that thoracic spine, especially if you have a lot of tightness in your upper body, having the shorter block, if you have one, would be a good idea. So the short block would go behind the heart, and the tall block would go to support the head. Okay, and I'll come down on the ground and show you what I mean by that. So getting whatever it is you need to begin the practice with the 2 blocks. For the practice today, we will also need a strap. And if you have a strap that loops, that would be great. And if you don't, that's okay. You can tie your strap. Could be a belt or something, a robe, strap for your robe. And then another blanket, which we'll use up by our head. And we'll use this throughout today's practice for your knees, for your head, and things like that. Okay. So a blanket, 2 blocks to begin, the strap for later, a mat, and that's not necessarily something. And then when we do the standing part of the practice, a chair or a wall. So make sure you have access to all of those things before we begin. And then I'm going to begin my practice today on my block. And I'm going to put one behind my head and one behind my heart. So it is kind of a bigger opener. The shoulder blades will rest here on the block. You'll feel the shoulder blades there. And that helps to stretch the chest muscles, the shoulder muscles, and some of those deep spinal muscles in front of the body. So before you come down, bringing yourself to this moment here, let's begin with our eyes open. If you can sit with your knees bent, sit on your heels, try that. And if you can't, then sit in a crisscross leg position. If your knees still bend or close to being able to bend, I would say to work on that. And then if you have issues and your knees are not bendable anymore, that's okay. Let go of that and come into an easy seated position, crisscrossing your legs. And then let's take our hands down alongside our body. Let's inhale up, bring your hands, let them find themselves above your head, and then bring them straight down the midline of your body all the way to your heart. You inhale, your arms are open, palms are up. Allow your arms and your hands to find themselves above you, and then you bring yourself straight down. Do a couple more like that. You inhale, and then you exhale. Inhale, exhale. Bring your hands right in front of your heart. Look at your hands for a second and notice how they found each other. How perfectly aligned your hands are. Even if they're off a tiny, tiny smidgen, but they're not off like this, like this, like this, right? Above your head without looking, your hands are able to find themselves. Go ahead and just try that for a second. Take your hands, bring your hands here, and then look at them. Right above your head, they do that. All right, close your eyes, exhale. Inhale, draw your arms up, overhead, together. Exhale down to your heart. Inhale. And exhale. Gathering you, all of you, your mind, energy to this moment here. Using your breath, inhale, open to receive, to gather, to bring everything together as the hands touch. And on the exhale, draw everything down in your body towards your heart. One more. And then go ahead and open your eyes. few things about that, warming up the body, mobilizing the shoulder blades up and down the back of the body, getting your shoulders to get a little warm there. So we're going to come down onto the ground. Maybe you're already in a little bit of a nice relaxation place. We're going to come down onto the ground. The shoulder blades are going to go on to whatever it is you have behind your back. And then because this is osteoporosis, really keeping that awareness, osteoporosis class, keeping the awareness here on the front of the spine, you're going to reach long, keeping your throat open to come down, and then bring your body onto the block. And keep your knees bent and find the block. So the block is behind the shoulder blades. What I often see with people is when they do this, they have the block too high. So you want the upper part of your back free. You want the block to be in the shoulder blade area. And then go side to side so you actually slide your shoulder blades closer to your spine. So in fact, they are there. And the block behind your head is determined by your level of flexibility. There's 3 different heights for the block behind your head. So explore and find the one that's appropriate for you. Walk your feet a little closer to your body so you free up the pelvis here. And you allow this tension of extension, this extension posture. You don't let that go down to your low back. And then close your eyes, feel your way into whatever you're experiencing in your body. Press your shoulder blades into your block, lift your heart up towards the sky. Allow this to enter your body without doing anything yet to your arms. So it is a pretty big opener. The position of the block can be horizontal or vertical. One will be a little deeper stretch, and you need to figure out which one feels appropriate for you. Notice if you feel any stretch here in your belly, below your ribs, to your pelvis, stretching the front of your body. And then make sure the center of your head is pressing into the block or whatever is supporting your head. And let's bring the arms out to the side. Do a little to warm up the muscles we're going to stretch. So the eyes are closed, the palms are up towards the sky, the elbows are bent. Let's bring the elbows down towards the waist, towards the body, and exhale. And as you inhale, allow your arms to float up towards the back wall, towards over your head, like you're doing a jumping jack or making snow angels. You exhale, the elbows come down to your waist. You inhale, the arms go up, overhead trying to touch. Back neck is nice and long, head is relaxed, rib cage is relaxed, and you're trying to mobilize just your arms. Shoulder blades are locked in as you rest on them. And we're stretching the muscles that mobilize your arms. You inhale to raise up. You exhale to bring your arms down. One more. And then bring your arms out to the side. Find a place where you could rest your arms on the ground, where you feel a pretty deep stretch. Maybe the armpit, maybe the shoulders. And then if you have a block behind you, you're definitely going to feel the hard aspect of the block behind the shoulder blades. Definitely a deeper stretch, not quite as yummy and relaxing as a bolster or pillow. And then if you do have shoulder issues, if you have rotator cuff tears or shoulder issues, I would suggest that you don't go into too deep of a stretch in the shoulder area, that you either bring your arms right off of your body or a little lower, or bend the elbows a little deeper. Because sometimes this can be a little aggravating for those with chronic shoulder issues. So don't try to go too crazy here. Find what's appropriate. Find Goldilocks. Begin to notice your breath.
Separate your back teeth. Let your lips touch and breathe in and out through your nostrils. Feel the cool air coming in and out of your nostrils. And then I'm going to do a little counting to keep your mind focused on your breath. This is a breath of peace. It's an equal count. I'm going to do the number 6, which is the sinus rhythm of the heart. This could be a great way to calibrate nervous system, cardiovascular system, respiratory system. Get your internal body to be able to tap into its innate inner healing capabilities, including those aspects of bone remodeling. So let's take a big breath to exhale. Then begin. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Continue on your own, counting whatever number is appropriate for you. Keep counting, staying with the flexibility of the opening of the body, the strength of managing your mind, the balance of the heart rate, nervous system, respiratory system, and internal environment. Wherever you are, finish this breath and take another breath, counting. And then letting the breath go back to your body, letting your body breathe itself. Keep yourself in this position if it feels okay to you. The eyes are closed. Bring your awareness to your belly, to your core, to the part of you below your ribs and where your leg attaches to your body, that whole part of you. Top of the core is the diaphragm, the bottom of the core is the pelvic floor. And then you have the obliques that wrap from the back all the way to the front. And then you have deep abdominal muscles. One goes side to side. Psoas being part of the core at the back. And then you have the superficial six-pack ab part of us. It's really 8 sections, rectus abdominis. That whole section, I want you to engage that whole section. So a couple of visuals could be that you imagine you have a big juicy orange in the middle of your belly. You squeeze down from the top and up from the bottom at the same time and in from side to squeeze the heck out of a big juicy orange in the very center of your body. Try that. See if you're able to feel the deep contraction of the core muscles. And then release. The other visual could be a zipper. You begin to zipper up from the very base of your pelvic area where your pubis bone is, like you're pulling on a very tight pair of jeans. You have to suck your tummy in and back away from the zipper as you zipper up, 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 up to right by the belly button. And then release. So whatever visual works for you to get that core contraction, let's take an inhale, soften. And on the exhale, start to activate your core and push your belly button towards your spine. Try to push the low back towards the floor. Tilting the pelvis a little bit, posterior tilt, inhale to release. You might feel the deepening of stretch inside your body as you actually posteriorly tilt the pelvis a little, bringing a little flexion into the lower lumbar spine and stretching some more aspects of your body. And you may even feel this all the way up to where the armpits are, where the arms attach to the body. As you stretch or flex the lower spine, the tension translates all the way up to the arms, to the shoulders, maybe. And that may be the case for you. Contract your core, pressing the low back back. And then go ahead and release. Let's take a little tension out of your arms. So bend your elbows, lower your arms maybe down towards the side of your body. And then if you're able to, depending on what your head is on, let's do a little side to side, releasing some tension in the neck area, side to side. And it really depends whatever you're resting your head on. So when the eyes are closed, you could feel and sense more about where you are in space, get a little bit more somatic awareness. You know, your inner feeling turns on when the eyes are closed. And bring yourself back to center. Knees walk closer to your body. Bend your arm. You're going to slowly roll off whatever you're on onto your side. Slowly roll off. You might feel a pretty big letdown depending on what you had behind your body. Maybe during that you felt a really intense stretch in the shoulder area, the armpit area. A lot of connective tissue up here. You know, a lot of your tissue that's holding your limbs together, holding your body together. Let's take the hand in front of you. You want to lead with the shoulder and not with the head. You're going to spread your fingers and actually feel like you're falling forward and look forward. Then you can bring that top knee in, take an inhale. And as you exhale, really push the hand. Let it be the hand that does most of the work to bring you up. And go slow, trying to not use much momentum when you do that, because we need to preserve the strength in our body on all areas, not just the big mover muscles that we think about, biceps, triceps, quadriceps, hamstrings, core, but those little tiny muscles that mobilize and stabilize your joints. So let's take the block. One of them you're going to need. If you have two, take the other one off to the side. Just notice how you're feeling here. We spend a lot of our time in a seated position with gravity pushing down from above, whether we're standing or sitting, and that brings in this tightness into the front body. So that was opening the front body, stretching your body. A really important thing, I think, for us to find in our body every day, whether it is supported with blocks or lying down on the ground with one blanket behind your chest, but really getting this thoracic part of your spine to lift and to open in the front can be really therapeutic and healing. All right, so let's go into our first set of 3 postures, and we're going to do strength, flexibility, and balance. So we're going to come on to bring your blanket into the center of your mat. Bring yourself onto all fours. Let's do a little to warm up our joints. Take your hands pretty far forward. Let your fingers point out to the side so you're not doing too much to your wrist here. And your knees are pretty wide. And I want you to move back and forth side to side. Maybe feeling some of those inner thigh muscles starting to stretch, rolling through the hip joint here, getting the muscles that stabilize and mobilize your hips to come online here. And then you're going to bring yourself to neutral. You're going to go forward and back. Keep your head lifted and look forward. Wherever the head goes, the spine follows. So if you let your head hang, then the next section, which is the thoracic, that's going to start to come into flexion, and we do not want that. So keep your head lifted here. Back and forth. You may feel your glutes stretching here. You may feel the hip flexors in the front of the hips get a little tight as you bend your hips. Hip flexion is what we want more of in our lives. So we want that stretch in the front body, and we want to be bending more from this joint here, the hip, right? This is what's happening. This joint here is where my bend is taking place. When I go back, that joint goes deeper into what's called flexion. And then bring yourself up, come all the way up, take your wrists, shake your wrists. So we'll begin with the flexibility posture. We're going to do 3. The first one is flexibility. And this is interesting. Dr. Fishman said this is not really a yoga pose, but it's really important. We're going to stretch our wrists. We're going to rotate the lower arm, stretching the wrists. A very important aspect of our body for bone health is this. And some of you may even have a distal wrist or for distal forearm x-ray, because that's another area they look for osteoporosis is in this part of our body. So for this, you're going to sit in whatever position is okay for you. If you could bend your knees, try to bend them. So you're going to bring your hands, the backs of the hands are facing each other, the thumbs are down towards the ground. And then you're going to take your left wrist over your right wrist. Take the left wrist over the right, allow the palms to find each other, and then clasp your hands. And then quite often the shoulders become shoulder earrings, so lower your shoulders. And then start to bring the hands down. Slowly start to bring the hands up and through. This is stretching the left wrist. If the left hand was on top, we're stretching the left wrist, pulling on the bones with the muscles, which is going to be bone building stimulation, and allowing for more range of motion in the wrist in case you slip, trip, or fall, and you put your hand down to break or brace your fall. So lower your shoulders. If you bring your hands away from your body, you could lower your arms, spread your elbows a little wider. Those are all things to get a little deeper stretch in that wrist. Take one more breath. And then you're going to bring yourself out. Come all the way out. Take your hands apart. Notice that tension in the left wrist. Hands are apart. Lower your shoulders. Bring the right arm over the left. Right wrist and left wrist touch or crossing. Hands clasp. Lower your shoulders. Slowly start to twist, bringing the hands through, in, and up. So go to the place where you have a really appropriate tension that you could feel that's pretty substantial. You could push the hands away from your body, lower your arms, spread your elbows, whatever you need to do to get even more tension in the right wrist area. And breathe. Take one more breath. And then go ahead and bring yourself out. So that was flexibility of the wrist, stretching the wrist joint, right? And then take your wrists around. Now we're going to go into strength. And we're going to strengthen the wrists. We're going to strengthen the whole body. We're going to do a plank posture. So you're going to take your hands underneath your shoulders, spread your fingers pretty wide, point your fingers forward. Take one leg back. And let's stretch the calf for a second, and then take the other leg back. Bringing a little blood flow into the calf area. And then from here, you're going to push your toes into the floor. Lift your other foot off if that's appropriate for you. If you need to put your knees and shins on the ground for a modification, go ahead and try that. Really push away from the floor with your hands and push away from the floor with your feet. And push your heels back. Really be tall in your whole spine. Head is active, not hanging. From the crown of the head to the heels, you are really tall, long. One more breath. And then go ahead and bring yourself down. Come all the way down, take your wrists, shake your wrists. Now we're going to go into a balance. And because we are focusing on wrists, we stretched our wrists for flexibility. We strengthen them. We're going to do balance. So we're actually going to do a side plank, which is a pretty challenging posture, I know. Side plank is pretty challenging. And this is going to be strength, but it's also a lot of balance. So this is the variation I'd like you to come into. Don't go in there yet. For those that need something else, you could do what's called a balancing half moon, where you keep one leg on the ground and come up. There's a balance aspect of this as well. So try that if the plank, the Vasisthasana side plank doesn't work for you. So let's prepare. Hands are in front of you. Take one foot back and then the other. Have them touching. And then you lift your pelvis up. You roll onto the outer edge of one leg. And you bring yourself up into side plank. From here, you want to have a nice long spine. You want your hand to be up in the air. Your chest is pressing forward. And then push away from the ground a lot with your feet. Really push with that pinky toe edge that you're resting on, really lifting the weight of your pelvis up. Press your heart forward. Press your fingers into the floor. Smile. And then go ahead and bring yourself down. Let's take a break for 1 second. That's the hardest posture for me by far, because it is the balance part of feeling like you're going to fall out of it, and the strength part. And definitely that wrist, getting a lot of work there. So I'll do this with my back towards you on this next one. That's fine. All right. So let's come down. Take your hands on the ground. Have them underneath your shoulders so you're setting yourself up with nice alignment. Take one foot back and the other one right next to it. And then you're going to lift your pelvis up. You're going to roll onto your pinky toe edge. Hand is in the air. Really push away from the ground. Deep breaths here. Long spine. Push away from the ground with the feet. Really lift the pelvis up. And press your heart forward. One more breath. And then bring yourself down and out. Take your hands. Let's take the wrist across the body. Keep your arm straight. Bend the wrist towards you. And then flip the hand like this. Pull the hand towards you. And then do the same thing with the other. The arm goes across the body. Stay nice and straight. Bend the wrist. Push the wrist towards your body. Feel that stretch. Hand up. Pull the hand towards you. Make sure you're on the palm as well, not just the fingers. And then shake your hands. So we're going to go into our next set of balance, strength, and flexibility. The first posture we're going to do is boat pose Navasana. So you could do it on a blanket, although I think it's better to do it off of a blanket. So you really get that nice reference of your buttocks. So even if the focus, if we're trying to do a balance or we're trying to do a flexibility or strength, all these other components show up as well. So it's not just that it's just a strength or just a flexibility or just a balance. So this one actually has a lot of core strength as part of this. You want to keep the front of your spine, especially this thoracic area, nice and lifted. You don't want that to collapse. So you really want to stay nice and lifted in this. We're going to be balancing on our pelvis, on our sits bones. So let's take the legs, walk the legs back, really lift your chest forward, slide your shoulder blades towards each other, and then let one foot come off and then the other. So this could be a place that you begin or you stay the whole time, or if you're able to lift your hands off, really lifting your heart forward, throat is open. And then for those of you that have a full range of motion for your boat, you could come into straight legs. Not for me. Deep breaths. And then go ahead, hold on and bring yourself down. Notice what you notice there. We're going to come down onto the ground. You're going to need your strap. You're going to need your block and your blanket. So go ahead and put your blanket at the top of the mat. Bring yourself all the way down. Arm reaches away from you. Go ahead and grab your strap. We're going to pull on the pelvis. We just sat on the pelvis and balanced on the pelvis. Now we're going to pull on the pelvis with the hamstring muscle. So the important thing for this is we're in a neutral pelvis when our low back is away from the floor. So when the pelvis tilts back and the low back presses into the floor, that's not a neutral pelvis. That's a posterior tilt. So start where you feel most of the pressure, right in the center of your sacrum, and try to keep your pelvis nice and neutral without tilting it backwards. And we're going to stretch the muscle group behind the thigh here, which is the hamstring, and it attaches onto this pelvis. So we're going to use our strap for this. Let's bring our legs one at a time up into the air. Do a little bit to warm up your hamstrings, getting some blood flow to come into the hamstrings you're going to be stretching. And then put the left foot on the floor. The right leg is in the air. Bend the right hip, bend the right knee, and put your strap on the right foot. Bring your foot as close to your body as you can get it. Then you're going to move your leg away from you so that you feel yourself going back to the neutral. The center of your pelvis is where you feel the pressure. Bring your hands down your strap, wrap your hands around. And then if you'd like to take the left leg long and straight, flex the foot, lengthen that leg away from you. That'll help you stay in that neutral pelvis. Pull the strap down. The key for doing this posture when you have osteoporosis or osteopenia is you do not bend your knee. We want to pull on the ends of the muscle. So pull the leg down into the socket. Sole of the foot is up towards the sky. Exhale. And then inhale. Activate that right leg. Firm up the right leg muscles. Push the leg away from you with your muscles and draw the leg towards the wall behind you. Feel that stretch behind the thigh, the back of the thigh. And hopefully you feel it right where the tushy is. Don't let your pelvis tilt backwards. Don't let the low back come to the ground. Feel most of this tension at the base of your spine and your sacrum and your pelvis. Keep pulling that leg back towards the wall. Create a lot of tension behind that leg and firm up the muscles of the right leg to push the right leg away from you. One more breath. And then go ahead. Let's bend the left leg, bend the right leg, take the strap off. Draw the left leg in, bend the hip, bend the knee, and then put the strap on the foot. Wrap your hand around the strap. Draw the leg down so you feel the pressure of your buttock in the floor. You may even feel stretch already. Then if you're going to take the right leg straight, lift and lengthen. Press the right leg onto the ground. Pelvis is nice and neutral. Pull the strap down. Firm up the left leg. Push the left leg away from you. Keep the leg straight. And then draw the leg towards the wall behind you. Don't let your low back press towards the ground. Keep the left waist nice and long. Create a lot of tension behind your leg. Stay with your breath. One more breath. And then bending that knee. Take the strap off. Bring the strap off to the side. Draw your knees into your chest. Whenever we do one side, not both together, bringing yourself more into a balanced position. Now we're going to do the strength posture, which will be bridge. Let's get your block. Bring your block between your knees. So the block is between the knees. Do a little bit of pressing into the block. Activate, feel that center muscular aspect of you, stabilizing aspect of you turning on. You'll feel the inner thighs activate there. You're going to take the blanket away from the back of the head. Lift your rib cage away from the ground by pressing your arms into the ground. You could roll side to side and slide your shoulder blades closer to the center so that you are resting on them at the top. When we do lift up, you want to lift up and let the weight be in the upper back, never going to the head and neck. So lift the head up, tuck the chin towards the chest, lengthen the back of your neck. Arms could be bent for this or straight. Feet could be closer to the body. You do whatever feels appropriate for you. Squeeze the block, flatten the low back into the ground. Take an exhale. Squeeze your tushy and peel your spine up off the floor one vertebra at a time. Do not look side to side once you lift your body up off the floor. Close your eyes. Feel what's happening in your body. Feel the strength. Push with your arms, push with your feet. Squeeze your block, squeeze your tushy. Let the front soften and lengthen. Open the front of your spine. Stretch your hip flexors. Stretch your belly. And press away from the floor. Feel that strength in the back of the body, strengthening the back muscles, strengthening the back bones, the vertebra pressing into each other, creating bone building stimulation. Take one more breath. And then you're going to come down slowly. Eyes are closed. Feel yourself putting one vertebra at a time towards the ground. When you get to the bottom of the ribs, lift your heels off the floor. Be on your tippy toes. And try to tilt your pelvis backwards so you press the low back into the ground first before the pelvis. Bring the blanket back behind your head. Take the block off to the side. Draw the knees into the chest. And go side to side. Go ahead and let your legs go down. So that was the boat pose Navasana for balance, the Supta Padangusthasana big toe pose number 1 for flexibility, and the bridge posture for strength. So let's do the next. One of them will begin on the ground, and then the next 2 we'll do in a standing position. So the first one we're going to do is for flexibility. We're going to do Supta Padangusthasana number 2, which is big toe pose. So let's take the strap and bend the right knee, draw the right leg in, take the strap on the right foot. Now, if you are newer to the practice or nursing an injury or need a little prop assistance, having a block by your leg to help support the weight of your leg when you let your leg go out to the side may be something you need to do. So if that's you, go ahead and get that. What's really important here is that when your leg goes out to the side, imagine you're up against a wall, so that as your leg goes out to the side, it cannot go forward at all. It cannot go forward, because this is not about getting to the ground. This is about lengthening the inner thigh muscles. And when they're higher and coming directly off your body, you're going to get more of a stretch in the inner thigh muscle. And that's something I observe often, is trying to get to the ground and leg going forward. Take your left leg straight if you can or would like to. And then take an exhale. Strap is in the right hand, you're on the right leg. And then inhale, leg goes out to the side, coming into the deepest stretch you could feel in your body. Keep your left buttock on the ground. Your pelvis is stable here. Right waist is nice and long. And then pushing into the strap, leg going towards the wall behind you. Deep breaths. Close your eyes, feel what you're doing in your body. You're pulling on the pelvis here, creating stimulation in the pelvis. One more breath. And then when you're done, bring yourself up to center, bend the knee, bend the opposite leg. Let's prepare for the next side. So get yourself into a position where that'll work for you. Draw the left leg in, bend the knee, bend the hip. Strap is on the foot. Slide your hand down the strap, holding on with the left hand, elbows out to the side. Straighten the right leg if that's appropriate for you. And then lengthen your leg out to the side, keeping it high the whole time. Keep your pelvis nice and rooted. Right buttock on the ground. Nice left long waist. Deep breaths. Take one more breath. And then bring your leg back up. Take your strap off. Draw your knees into your chest. Rock side to side. And then come all the way onto your side. Your hand is in the ground. Using your hand to push away from the ground, bring yourself up. Bring your blanket onto the ground. Knees are on the blanket. Letting your blood calibrate from that supine position now to mid-level. Realizing that we have wrinkles on the inside and that our blood vessels lose their pliability the way our skin does. And so making sure that we allow the blood the chance to actually come up to the head when we're in this position. So part of fall prevention is also raising the awareness of we may need to slow down. We may need to pay more attention to what we're doing and how we're moving. And it doesn't mean we're getting old and weak. It means that we're being very intelligent with how we place our bag of bones around in the world and around in space. So now that you're forward, bring your weakest leg forward. I like to do the weakest leg because I know this is my weaker leg for rising and falling, or rising up, coming up and going down. So you could choose the strongest if you need that. But I like to always challenge myself, keep myself nice and strong. Toes are forward, a little bit at an angle if you'd like. Take your hand on your thighs. You're going to inhale back, and then looking forward, looking up, forward, push yourself forward and up and come all the way up to standing. When you are up in a standing position, we're going to have to move our blanket. So you want to bend at your hips, keep your spine nice and straight or in a neutral curve. Reach down, get your blanket, move it off to the side. And then being near a wall or having a chair may be something you'll need. So let's come into the strength part of this practice. So we are going to use the block and the strap. for this. So getting your block and strap, bending at your hip, keeping your spine neutral curve, head is up as you bend down. We're going to do the chair posture with the props today. So we're going to take the block between our legs. The strap, if you have a loop already on a strap, having the strap be body distance can be really nice to get the shoulder girdle to activate, or you could hold on to a strap and pull out to the sides like this to get the same effect. So I'm going to turn to the side with this. Coming into the strength version of this 3 series, the toes are pointing forward, your legs are block distance, your toes are block distance, and then you're going to exhale, and as you inhale, push your tushy back, start to bend your hip, let your hands raise up towards the sky, and look down for a second to make sure that you can see the top of your foot and your toes. You're not covering your toes with your knees. Push your knees back, push your tushy back. Bend a little deeper in your hip joint like you're cracking raw eggs in between your low belly and your top thighs. And then raise your arms up, push out on the strap, squeeze the block. If you can, lift your toes off the floor, lift your toes off the floor. Bending as deep as you can, lifting your arms up. Take one more breath. And then go ahead and bring yourself up. Feeling the strength in the upper body and in the lower body with that. Strap off to the side. Block off to the side. And then let's come into a balance posture. So we're going to do what's called Karate Kid. And what this looks like, we're going to stand on one leg. And this leg here, if you could get this leg to a 90-degree angle, where this is 90, and this is 90, and that the ankle is 90, that would be ideal. But you may need to be here, 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 or here, because it's a lot of hip flexor strength. Whatever you need to do is okay. Be okay with that. So the toes are forward. Pick up your toes, spread your toes. Have your big toes be not too far apart, not as wide as your body, because hip distance is really the feet are closer than this. It's the angle of the legs, kind of like our design, it's pretty amazing. Take your hands down alongside your body, palms are open. Bring yourself onto your weaker leg, come onto your tippy toes, and then bring your leg up into wherever you're going to end in your Karate Kid. Foot is forward, don't let the foot be back. So have that 90, 90, 90. Strengthening your quadricep, strengthening your hip flexors, focusing on balance. If you want to add a little challenge, you could make your body do a little bit to balance even more here. If that's appropriate for you, really getting that foot that's on the ground to move around, to dance, to figure out where the heck you are. Bringing yourself to a stationary neutral. One more breath. And then slowly lower that leg, bring it all the way down. Feeling that work in the hip flexor muscles. Really important to have strong hips. Let's go to the other side. Toes are together. Hands are down alongside your body. Push your body weight to the other foot. Bring your foot forward and then lift up. Coming into Karate Kid on this side. Try to keep a nice long waist on that side of your body. Don't let the body get really short there. Keep the body long. Lift your heart, open your chest, and look forward. And then if the wind or something happens to enter, you give yourself a little challenge. Maybe, maybe not. Bring yourself to neutral. One more breath. And then go ahead and bring yourself down. Take your feet, bend your feet one at a time. Don't make this be too much body work. Make this be mostly feet, ankles, and knees. Keep it pretty isolated in the lower body. Really get your toes to bend. Then take your foot, flip your foot under, get your toenails to touch, stretch the top of your foot. And then same thing with the other. So that series had the Supta Padangusthasana number 2, big toe pose number 2, stretching the inner thigh, pulling on the pelvis. We came up into the strengthening of this whole pelvic area, coming into the chair, and we used this strap to actually activate the shoulder girdle area, keeping the upper part of your balance strong. We need this part of your body for balance as well. And then finally, we went into the balance aspect of the Karate Kid, which of course, everything has everything in it. So that also had a lot of strengthening for the legs and for the hip flexors. So this next series we're going to go into has another new posture. And I'm going to say that when I teach this in person, I'm very cautious when I'm in a room, depending on how many people are there, to know if they're close enough to a wall or not. I don't let many people do this in the middle of the room because this is a tough one. And it's a tough one mentally because it's very challenging because you feel that you're not strong or not balanced well. It's called Dancer. It's one of my favorites. And I'm just going to show you. So the Dancer posture is this, balancing where you have body weight forward, body weight back. But it can be a real challenge to do this. So for some of you, you're not going to be able to actually grab your foot. So your Dancer may be like this, bringing the body forward, the body back. What I would like you to do, though, is not to open up your hips. So when you do come forward, staying linear, these are your hip lights. This is your heart light. Hip lights, heart lights. If you had flashlights or hips, flashlight, heart, you want to keep yourself linear when you tip forward and not open up and let your hip lights go away and your heart lights here. So we want to be careful, and that's what can happen. People try to get so big with their Dancer that they're opening their body forward, and really you want your body to be linear, okay? So let's go into whatever your variation of Dancer is. And I'd like you to stand on a foot and load your weight in that foot. Now bend the other leg and see if you can bring it close so that you could actually touch it. If you're not able to touch it, then your Dancer will be like this. But if you are, grab from the inside. So from the inside of your leg, the inside of your foot, the inner thigh side of your foot, you're going to hold on to your leg. This will help to keep you linear and not open up your hip joint. Then you're going to tip forward, whatever that means for you, into your Dancer. Let your palm be up. Really push your hand into your foot into your hand. That's how you get a little bit of a deeper variation of the Dancer. It's a back bend. Push your heart forward. Open your chest. Take one more breath. And then go ahead. Bring yourself down and out. Go to the other side. You're going to put your foot on the ground. You're going to bend the other leg. Reach to the inside to grab that leg, or not. Take your hand forward, and you're going to tip forward into your Dancer. Breathe. Breathe all the way down to your foot as if your breath has balancing energy for you. Open your heart, press your heart forward. Take one more breath. And then go ahead and bring yourself out. Take your arms. Notice here. Notice the heart rate might have brought in a little more for you. So that was the balance. We're going to come into the stretch. The stretch is actually going to be triangle, which has strength in it as well and flexibility. Yet there's a lot of stretch that happens in the legs with triangle. It's a straight leg posture, a standing posture. So a chair or a block will be needed for this next one. I'll get a chair. So a chair or block, depending on what you need for your triangle. And with the chair, you can use the seat or you can use here. Let's come into a nice long leg position here. Long leg position. You're going to lift your toes up, turn your toes underneath the chair, lift your heel up and move your heel away. So you want to be really nice and wide here. And we're going to be stretching really a lot here in that back leg. And we're going to stretch. There's going to be a little rotational force for the lower lumbar, so you get some lower lumbar stimulation with the triangle as well. Shoulders are forward, up, back, and down. You're going to push your feet into the floor. You're going to inhale, lift your arms up, open up the front body, the armpit, and then push the hips back. When you can't go any farther, you'll start to feel the stretch in the front leg. Then you're going to bend at your hip joint, not at your waist. You're not bending just the top part of your body. You're bending right here to bring your hand onto the chair. Bring yourself into the triangle. Either hand is on the chair or on the block. Rotate your spine forward. Deep breath. Push away from the block or push away from the chair. Really bend that hip. Push the hip away from you. Let the low belly come closer to the top of that front leg thigh. Feel that deep stretch. Push your feet into the ground. Get taller in your body. Rotate, spiral your heart forward. Take one more breath. And then pushing your legs into the ground. You're going to bring yourself up, 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 and out. Let's take the chair and the block to the other side. Legs are wide. Wide, wide, wide. Pick up the toes. Toes are underneath the chair. Back heel up and away. Shoulders are forward, up, back, and down. Hands go down to the ground, towards the ground. Exhale and inhale to lengthen. Reach, 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 reach. When you can't go any farther, bring your hand onto the chair or onto the block, bending at the hip, and then spiral your heart forward. Pushing away from your block or your chair, not resting on it, but using it to push away. Deep breaths. Take one more breath. And then you're going to bring yourself all the way up, 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 and out. So that was the flexibility aspect of that series of 3. The next one we're going to do for strength is the Warrior 2. This is going to strengthen the legs, strengthen the hip. It also strengthens the muscles of posture in the upper body. So needing a chair, if you need a chair or a wall, choose what you need. Come into that wide leg stance. You're going to pick up the toes, turn the toes away from you, and then the heel moves away from you. You're going to take your shoulders forward, up, back, and down. Push away from the back pinky toe edge. As you inhale, bend the front knee and bring yourself down into the Warrior 2. Walk your front foot forward if you go low and your knee goes over your ankle. Go as low as you can. The lower you go, the more strength this will bring into your body. Look over your front fingers. Go as low as you can in your hip and your knee. Lift your heart, lengthen your spine. Press your arms back, lower your shoulders. Push away from the ground. And breathe. Deep breaths all the way down to your feet. Lift your heart and smile. Take one more breath. And on your next exhale, unbend your legs. Start to pull, bring your toes forward, and then lift the toes, slide, and then lift the heel up, slide. Really root your feet into the ground. Shoulders are forward, up, back, and down. Hands reach down. Push away from that back edge. Bend the front leg. Inhale to lower down into your Warrior 2 on this side. The lower you go, the more strength, the more loading you're putting in your hip joint, putting more pressure and tension in your muscles and your bones. Push away from the ground, get nice and tall. Keep working on finding that alignment. Push your hands back, lower your shoulders. Push away from the ground. Look over your middle finger. Lengthen your spine. Deep, 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 deep breaths all the way down to the ground. Lift your heart and smile. One more breath. And then go ahead. Unbend your legs. Bring yourself forward. Shake your legs. Let's come into the Tadasana, the posture of alignment, to find that alignment in the body. Feet on the ground, toes are pointing forward. Hands are down alongside your body. Push away from the ground, reach your hands down and get tall in your body. Pushing down, get that length to come into your body like a rebound. Hands are alongside the body, pushing back. Lower your shoulders. Chin parallel to the ground, push the head back. Bring your awareness to your spine, all 26 vertebrae, starting at your tailbone, which is in your pelvis, like 26 fine porcelain teacups. Stack them. Saucer, teacup, saucer, teacup, saucer, teacup, saucer, teacup. 2 in the pelvis, 5 in the low back, 12 attached to your ribs, 7 are in your neck. Chin is parallel to the ground, and let your head be right on top of your spine. If you have enough balance in your body to close your eyes safely, close your eyes and feel the alignment in your body. Feel what's happening in your body. Breathing down to your belly, down to your pelvis, down to your feet. And smile. Take one more breath. Gently opening your eyes, letting the tension leave your body. We're going to prepare for the last posture of the day, which is Shavasana, allowing this to settle in your body. The new memory of what was created today, the new memory of strength, of flexibility, and of balance with every posture, every move you did. Let's let that integrate into every cell and all your soul and all of you. Go ahead, get your blanket to come back down onto the ground. And whatever else you would need. Bring yourself onto the ground. If you need to do anything to bring your knees into your chest, go ahead, do whatever you need. Let your legs be wide, let your toes flop towards the ground, arms are alongside your body. Let go, let whatever. Let go, let whatever peace and calm can come into your body and your mind. Stay with your breath or go back to Sukha Pranayama, 6 and 6. Inhale and exhale. Gently begin to deepen your breath. Start to wiggle your fingers and your toes, rolling your ankles, your wrists. And then bending your knees, draw your knees in towards your chest. Come onto your side. Open up your hand, leading with your shoulder, using the muscles of your upper body to come up to a seated position. Keep your eyes closed. Bring your hands together. Press your hands to your chest, chest towards the hands. Lengthen the back of the neck, lengthen your spine. We'll close with sound, a humming sound like the letter M. Lips together. Take a big exhale, a big inhale. Bowing in respect, in gratitude. Namaste. So I actually think that we did about 14 postures today, and definitely some strength today, because some of the things we did were in twos, right? The side plank was in twos. The wrist was in two different sides. The dancer posture was done in two different sides. The warrior two was done in two different sides. The triangle was done in two different sides. So a lot more than 14 if you count it like that. Always doing whatever you can do. That's all you need to do to create stimulation in your body to build stronger bones. All right, so Cindy, sorry. Not that my intention was all of those, but when I went to like plank, I'm like, oh no. Dancer is a hard one. So hopefully that was okay for you, Cindy. You're such a stud. I'm sure you were able to do most of it. Donna,
Great. I know you love the challenge stuff, Donna. I mean, I do too, don't we all? Some of us, well, a lot of us do actually. A lot of us still want to be really like, do all we can forever, right? So great. Um, oh, good. All right, Cindy. Well, I was thinking about you when I was talking about the opening because of your shoulders, because that's a really deep opener to do with the block behind you. It's so much stretch of the pectorals and the deltoids and all the stuff here. And then Paulina, I don't know if you're still here. If you are, I'd love to hear how you feel. Oh, great. Yeah, dancer pose is my favorite. If you look at my website, that's the posture I do most often. Like whenever I'm going somewhere beautiful, I'm like, let me take a photo. I do dancer. And I love to do it on my left hip, although I don't have the range of motion on my left side that I have in my right side with my hip replacement. So, okay, great, Paulina. Really nice. So, Paulina, you could reach out to me either on my website or Debbie at DebbieRobinson.com. Oops, Z. All right. Um, are you serious, Sharon? Did you just have that DEXA scan? That is amazing. Wow, that's amazing. Well, let's also say um, how compliant you are to actually working your body in the way that you do, Sharon. You and Carol, you guys have been with me for so long in all the classes or things that I offer. And I know that you practice by yourselves, and I know you stand at work on one leg and brush your teeth in one leg, and you really embraced all of these postures. So that's amazing. And here's the deal. Who said osteoporosis is not reversible? I'm going to say not only is that reversible, that's really reversible because we should be losing 1% every year. So in 2 years, you should have lost 2. You gained 2. That's 4. That is 100 million% reversible. So when people say, is it really reversible? Yeah, ask Sharon. And my DEXA scan also went up 2 points in 2 years when I should be losing. So yeah, it's reversible, ladies. Keep doing this. Yes, yes, Patty. And here's one thing I want to say. When I'm in a group, in physical with a group of people, my osteoporosis class had 22 in the room that I could be in. So I'd say 15 to 18 ladies. That's the posture people would fall out of. I don't mean fall like on the ground. Only twice in my whole time ever did ladies fall, and they were the frailest over 80-year-old women. There was two, just because they were just in that stage where they hadn't really maintained their strength or flexibility, and they were super frail in their 80s. Like I almost had to walk around them. I really felt like I shouldn't even let them take the class. But it is the posture, Patty, that is very challenging because you're putting weight on one leg, you're loading up that hip inflection, you've got forward weight for your balance to manage, you've got backward weight, you're trying to add that length and that extension, you're reaching back so you don't have access to one hand in case, so there's a lot in that posture, mentally, physically, egoically. So I want to hear that you've been dancing a lot, Patty, on our next conversation. I want to hear lots of dancing. Um, Sharon, like, I'm so amazing. I need that as a testimonial. People are like, do you have testimonials? Have you like helped people improve? I'm like, yes, there's so many that do. All right. So super, super exciting to hear that. Yes, way to go. Oh, I've never seen that WTG. Yes. Yeah, exactly, Pollyanna. Did I say Paulina? Sorry, Pollyanna. Totally, 100% it's reversible. Yeah, we're reversing it. Come here. Sure, it's happening. All right, ladies. I'm off. I am going to say this. Next week, I'm going to be out of the country for 2.5 weeks. I'm going to Spain and Scotland and England to see my kids with my kids. All 3 of my kids will be with me, visiting family, visiting my friends. I plan to teach, definitely my hospital classes I'll be teaching. I've got hotels for that. I plan to teach. It will be 7 at night for me. So if I am not on, we're still going to send out the link to the class, and there will be a class. I might not be talking like current modern day, but it will be a guided class. So still be there all the time because it's easier to be guided when you're practicing than it is to do it by yourself. Yeah, I will, Cindy. Thanks. Thank you. You'll miss next week. Okay, well, I'll be here Tuesday and Wednesday in those classes if you're there. And then the whole week after that is my week off anyway. So I'm not teaching at all the first week of March. I take a week off, but then that second week of March, when my classes start, I will be there though for my Torrance Memorial classes. Okay. All right. Sharon, I'm so happy for you. What the heck? Point two, which is really point four, because you should have lost 1% on average every year. What the heck? That's like amazing. If you keep at this rate, you're not going to have osteoporosis. You're going to have osteopenia. That's amazing. See, ladies, Sharon is living proof. All right. Have a beautiful day, everyone. Thank you. I know I feel my body right now, so hopefully you're going to feel something. Your bones are remodeling right now. Thank the whatever. Hallelujah or whatever. Thank everything. All right. Bye, everyone.